professional time. Here we go. Hello, Omniverse. I am Joe Bear.
I'm Zach.
And I'm Diego.
And this is Behind the Beard.
Or lack thereof.
Welcome to this week's episode, where we hope that each conversation helps spark an idea, a thought, or help your journey to be a better you, as we are trying to do the same every week. And today we're finishing our series all about skills.
But I mean, I have something that's on my mind before we get there, because I'm looking at both of you, and you have the audacity to wear white. How...
Am I not supposed to wear it? I mean, is there a rule? Like, am I supposed to wait till what holiday is that? I'm supposed to wait?
Well, there is that thing. That's like Oprah. Isn't it Oprah's like no white after Labor Day or something? Or
when can you start wearing it, though? I don't know the answer to that.
An end date but no start date?
I think it's like you don't wear white after Labor Day. So like white's a summer color. But that's not why I was talking about it. I'm talking about it because I can't. I'm like the clumsiest, sloppy person that there is when it comes to food and drink. That clearly, as I have so many dark colors because pasta all over my shirt, drinking my coffee all over my shirt. I don't.
Well, Zach, normally I'm right there in that boat with you most of the time. I'm with the dark colors because if an accident does happen, like white, you can't cover it up. There's no covering up a barbecue sauce stain on my shirt at all, if that's what's going to happen. But I do keep them for very specific occasions, that I'm wearing it just for now, literally just changed into it, so that way it could be fresh and clean. But I gotta confess, I already spilled something at the bottom of my shirt, so I do have the stain on it already. Oh goodness, yeah, thanks for calling that out, Zach.
I'm wearing a black t-shirt under this, and I also have like a Cheetos stain somewhere on my sleeve. But yeah, I guess, I don't know, I was feeling a little cold, so I put this sweatshirt on, but then realized, how cold it was.
Did some Cheetos with you. The Cheetos dust.
The Cheetos magic. It gets everywhere. They're delicious and they're worth it. Now, I got a general question that just sparks up. Like, what is your primary closet color? Like, I know you said you've got a lot of dark colors in there, but I can successfully say most of my stuff is blue because it brings out the blue in my eyes. I was told once when I was a child, and I just latched onto it forever. Some other colors, but what are your
guys? I'm judging you every time I see you wear blue.
That's fine.
I can't just knocked over my wall.
You know what? I'm okay with it because as driving down recently, we stopped in a Buc-ee's. I don't know if you guys have been there, or heard of them. Diego, Buc-ee's is this ginormous gas station with this awesome food court and food. It's all made fresh daily, and they got like a store in there. I mean, you could buy like a wood stove and get gas and beef jerky. Their beef jerky is delicious. But anyway, I stopped in there. And I was wearing one of my blue t-shirts, and the lady stopped me and goes, "Excuse me, sir." And I'm like, "I'm just walking in. I'm not walking out. Think of the worst case scenario here. You have the most electric blue eyes." And I attribute it to my blue shirt bringing it out. So whatever you want to tease me with, I'm okay with it because that feels great.
You have evidence that
Electric Joe Bear.
There we go.
Electric Joe. Mine is mostly black, but it used to be a lot of patterns and colors and stuff like that. But then I realized, like, I think I'm going to blame this on social media, because then I started noticing like the repeating of things that I was wearing, like the shirts and like all of that, and judging myself for that. Judging myself for it. So I started wearing a lot more black, and then that's just like my go-to t-shirt for, like, I have, I think, 7 of them, and it's just the same black t-shirt that I wear every day when I'm working. And then if I have to dress up for something, I'll dress up, but then and just throw a sweater on top of it if in case. But this black t-shirt I have underneath is the one that I wear every day.
I mean, I'm generally dark. But I noticed that, to Diego, very similar to you, especially right before I was with Omni. I was actually in an office, boo. But having to dress up every day, I realized my wardrobe was lacking color. And then going on some like vacations in the summer, like I went to Miami last year. And I was like, God, I gotta fit in with the Miami world. I need like bold, bright. And so my closet has expanded, and I try to like show it out a little bit. But yeah, I it's better than what it used to be. I think I have a good eclectic spread now. I do, but I do a lot of earth tones, I guess you would still say. Like even with patterns and things like that, I stick to pretty much like blue, gray, green, like nothing crazy. And so that'd be me. But the perk of working at home is nobody can see your stains if they're in the right place.
That's right. I've always thought about, like getting rid of all the clothes and going into that like capsule clothing, right? Have you guys heard about that? Or basically you have like 7 outfits, all the shirts work with the pants and vice versa.
Okay.
And so you can mix and match and you don't have to think about it at all. And then like your closet goes from this much to that much and it's less clutter. I don't know. Speaking of, decluttering in the world in the new year, right? I mean, that's always good stuff there. But one of the things I've been really looking at is the digital health and the digital clutter that's going on. And a great conversation came up here within Omni. It's meetings. Like that's just all this meeting. We've all been there, and some of it's needed, right? You always got to have a good brainstorming session. We got to try to solve a problem. We've got to get in. We got to wrap this up. In the virtual world, they're extremely powerful, but how can we clean it up? How can we get better within the meetings themselves? What are your guys' thoughts on the digital clutter of meetings?
You bring it up, and this week has been an exhausting meeting for me. We record on Wednesdays, so FYI. But yeah, the last 2 days, I think I've amounted, including today, to over 20 meetings within and we're recording halfway through a Wednesday, so it's been brutal. I think for me, a lot of them are productive, right? I won't say that. I mean, I think like Joe, to your point, you do go into some meetings, you have to have the discussions if you're going through like, especially different launches and things of that nature. They're crucial things to make sure everybody agrees to. But I challenge that with strong communication. And paper trails are always crucial for business and any communication, really, especially if you're agreeing to something with mutual parties. Who knows what words can be misinterpreted from a call without kind of getting all parties aligned on some type of written communication. So I am on the mindset of challenging a meeting to what do we actually need to discuss and give it a few hours if time allows and try to hash it out in a direct message, try to hash it out in an email, see what comes out about that. And then from there, is that meeting valid? Do we still need to have it? Or did you set up one meeting? Why do we need to set it up daily? Let's see how things go. Because my thing is you just feel like at the end of the day, after so many calls, or I do anyway, like where did my day go? I didn't get anything done. And now I am super tired.
I agree. When like in the middle of the pandemic, I was working in a brick and mortar place. And when things moved to at home, I noticed a lot of the people that spend most of their time in the office will set up a ton of meetings. And I think there's also like a lot of that education that we need to do. Like we're completely at home, forever kind of business. So we need to educate a lot of on that, right? On like, is the meeting really needed? Because a lot of people start to set up meetings for things that they will usually just come to your desk to ask you, or just like a water cooler kind of talk meeting, which is the worst type because you don't really need that, right? And then what Zach just said, right? It just wears you out. It makes you feel tired. So I think to me, what has worked the best is that guideline of can this be solved on an email? And even like, can this email be solved on an instant message? And then it goes back to like, can this instant message be solved by a quick one-on-one call? Like, can I call you right now real quick? 2 minutes, hang up, done. Then I'll maybe send the email. But it doesn't need to be like, I'm going to invite 20 people to this cool have been 2-minute conversation and make it a half an hour thing where everybody's going to wear out and burn out at the end of the day.
If you're setting up a meeting and you're staying on mute or you're not really participating and just getting response from others, why are you setting up that meeting? Or why are you attending a meeting if you're just going to stay on mute and not contribute? Like that would be my other piece to this too.
Well, and I think, it goes back to, I saw a tweet that made me laugh. It says, 2023 mantra, right? If the meeting has no agenda, we don't attend. While it makes me chuckle, it's a very clear point, right? We all have a lot on our plate. Like in the business world and even down to just personal world, we've just got a lot going on anymore. It seems like anymore when people say like last year, I'm still thinking 2019 and 2020, 2021 and 2022 were just a blur, right? So that's how packed and busy it felt like. And so I need an agenda. I need something to plan for, right? And I want to prepare and plan to speak intelligently to what the problem or the issue or what I need to present or what I need to bring to the table itself. We get in the habits and crutches of recurring meeting and, okay, well, since we're all here, well, no, this wasn't on agenda. And that's really hard to do. And then, all these meetings take away from state of flow time. I mean, so many great books out there, like one of my favorite, Deep Work, right? If you can get into a state of flow and you can get just amazing things done, you can get that creativity flowing, you can solve that problem, right? And, if we're always on meetings, then how do we get creative? How do we get any work done? And that's where the challenge is. I can solve bigger problems by being creative, right? Sometimes I've got a lot going on in my mind and I need to go for a walk. Well, I can't do that if I need to be presenting on every single meeting and I don't even know what I'm meeting for. So again, it should be very, very difficult for anybody to interrupt our deep flow time. Like it just really should. And that's in the business world is where we're getting to. So it's super powerful stuff that we can really turn this around, from everywhere. And I'm seeing it all over LinkedIn as well. I mean, it's not just here and now, even in personal life, I have more meetings now than ever. I'm like, why are we meeting so much? And, so you're trying to balance that all out. But the good thing is we're a technology company and we can use tools, right? And we're starting to get smarter with that and better with that. Well, not saying start, but we have been. I think a lot of people are seeing that. There's Todoist, there's Monday.com, there's Guide CX. There's all these different things out there that can really help focus and get that productivity in there. And a lot of times these calls are just updates. Well, we can do that through a tool, and then we don't need to meet on that, and we can save that meeting for creativity, spark, or interest, and get passionate about something. That's really where the key example is. And we've got to solve this to make it better for everyone, our customers, our GBAs, our clients, right? This is how we solve it, is by being creative. From a GBA perspective, right? It's tough when you're on the phones all the time, right? We've got some accounts out there that are super high occupancy. And how do you guys think we should deal with that? Like with those high occupancy, what are your best recommendations? Because we're feeling it from meeting fatigue. Well, what about call fatigue? Like, what are your guys' recommendations for all of our GBAs out there that, are in the trenches, so to speak?
I think it goes down to being realistic of your own self and your own health, especially mental health. Very, very crucial, very important. Are you giving yourself a break? I mean, we have the awesome part within Omni is schedule yourself in 30-minute intervals. Be cognizant of that. I mean, if you're fined by hour 2 that you're just like, goodness, I'm on a phone call with another Joe who just will not stop talking. Like, if you're at that point, then evaluate, be realistic with your schedule too. And then I think that sometimes a meeting or a quick call from a conversation or a DM is needed, where you can just kind of hash things out or get kind of your thoughts out. I did it today with a couple of the accounts that I'm over, or met with both the delivery managers and all of the support contractors. And I talked to all of them today and just kind of, it wasn't a formal meeting. There was no agenda for this one. The agenda was, let's just talk. So maybe it was an agenda, but it was just one of those kind of calls of get the feelings out. Like, we're all busy right now, but let's just talk about it. And why are we busy? What's this leading to? And sometimes just those quick 30-minute powwows of realizing what you're doing it for, and what's going to come out of it motivates you to maybe want to continue working or the hours you are, or evaluate, I actually do need to just take Tuesdays off, because Tuesday's always when Joe Bear calls and I cannot handle another Joe Bear. So that would be my advice.
Love it.
I have 2 things for this one. The first one goes along the lines of what Zach was just talking about, and it's keeping that balance, right? You need to give enough time for yourself, whether it is to go out for a walk or to go to the gym or to whatever you want to do, to cook lunch and take enough time to do that. You need to prioritize that as well, right? If you want to go just go read a book for an hour or whatever you want to do. Take that time off and be realistic about it, because you can think about like, oh no, I want to work 20 hours a day and make all that money. Yeah, sure, but what's the cost of that? Then the second one is, this morning I was just listening to a podcast about burnout, and like the scientific approach to burnout, and like how now work burnout is actually something that the OMS in Spanish, I don't know what's the World Health Organization, that's in English. They have a scale and everything like really laid out for work burnout, and it goes into 3 steps. So the first one will be when you feel stressed out. Then the second one is when you start having negative feelings about the place where you work. And then the top level is when you actually have negative feelings about yourself and feeling useless and feel like whatever you do is meaningless to the world. So what that gives you is a great scale on how to detect it on yourself before you go to that final level of, I don't even know what I'm doing here. You can start with like, okay, am I feeling stressed out? Am I feeling like there's too much on my plate right now? And that's when you need to start doing that, right? Start taking a break, start just clearing your mind or doing things to do that. When you're taking calls, that's exactly what happens, right? If you're been 1 hour of taking calls and they're all Joe who never stops talking, and then the angry customer, and yeah, like I cannot keep doing this. I'm starting to feel stressed out. But if you keep going, it can turn into like, wait, I hate this place. I hate this gig that I signed up for. And the last will be like, I don't even know what I'm doing taking calls. So before you get to any of those, start realizing, right, and setting up yourself on schedules that can actually help you clear your mind, have a good work-life balance.
Whoo! Powerful, guys. Like, that's amazing. Like, both of that. And thank you, Diego, for not referring me to the angry customer, just the long-winded one. I'll take that any day. But really, I mean, this is really what it comes down to. It's learning what makes you work, right? And trying to find that balance and that symbiotic balance within others. And as a GBA, it's one different thing to handle yourself and to be there for the customers, and to help them out. And then as we progress, we've talked about the different progressions in going up into a leadership role, and what does that look like, and how do I take that step? How do I take that breath? How do I get mentally just charged up and ready to go for the next one? Which I think brings us to why we're here today. We're talking about winning or learning, I should say, because there is no such thing as winning or losing. With the right mindset of skill creation, you can become a force multiplier, a superhuman with what you can go accomplish into the big world. And it's so powerful when you start to think about it as, okay, I met my metrics. Yay, I did a good job, or I failed, but okay, now I've learned something, so I'm better for the future, and now that's locked away into my methodology of doing something, and so now I'm just getting stronger. I've got more skills, I've got more knowledge. Almost the school of hard knocks, right? We've talked about, formal education, all of these different side ways to get educated, and now it's just through sheer experience. And what are your guys' favorite ways of just learning via doing?
Go with, for everything, just learn by doing. And the one thing that comes to mind when you say win or learn is that I think I've failed many, many more times than I've won in life. And that's probably the general case for everyone. And one of the things that one of the analogies that I can make when I think about that is, again, sports as usual, but think about, I don't know, in baseball, like what's a good batting percentage, right? Like you're hitting if you're hitting 1 out of 3 balls that are pitched at you, like might just think like, I'm a failure at this thing, but that's actually a good batting score. Same thing if you think about quarterbacks, if you think about like pass completion rates and all of that, right? It would, like, you look at those numbers, if you thought like 100% is the goal, everybody will be a failure, but it's not really that way. Like you learn from every time that it doesn't work out.
Nothing. Well, I don't want to say nothing, but it's rare that something works out according to plan. 100%. Probably a good bit of it will. Like, hey, this happened. everything went pretty much according to plan, but there are some things we can button up on, right? I think I've talked about it a lot in this series. Is I learn every day by doing and listening, and just messing up a bunch, mess up every day. And I used to beat myself up so much about it, and I have moments now where I still do, right? But I'm learning not to, because in those moments, I said it today on like those meetings I was talking about. I was like, sometimes it's my dig deep days, where Joe and I talk about this, whether we're talking about the gym or talking about maybe, we know that our work day, we're talking about meetings. There's a lot of meetings. We're going to have to dig deep, and we're not quitting. We're going to dig deep and we're going to make it happen. And I relate this to something I see often. People think that they're just going to a destination, right? Like success or winning is a destination on a map to get to. And there's usually panic or red flag or 911 or whatever phrasing you want to use when that destination is changed, or the way to get to this destination is not what they thought in their head. And the result maybe is not exactly what that person expected. And that's where the quitting comes in. And I see it so many times of, I'm going to throw my hands up because I just thought we were going to get to this point and it would be done and it would be off my plate. I've been there, but now I know enough to know that you've got to give something a chance to succeed. And if there is enough cause of concern, then you got to dig deep and you got to figure out and learn to make this a win and continue to be a win. But you can't just view success or winning as a destination and just think that you're going to get off, hop to the beach, and now just coast because you've done what you think needs to be done.
So what you're saying is you make the plan, you work the plan, and if the plan doesn't go right, we just go to the beach?
Yes.
Perfect.
I mean,
No, we pivot, we move, we change, we adapt to what's happening there. I really like what you say of you either learning from your own mistakes, or learning from others, right? I mean, that's super important. I think that in this day and age with hyperactivity within the social media world and our Google brains that we're really developing, we're losing face of being self-aware and doing some analysis on ourselves. I mean, it's really, really difficult to do that. I know there's, tons of ways to do that, black box analysis or black box thinking, identify the root cause of mistakes and how to avoid it next time. There's learning from others, right? It's okay, I'm going to watch you do that. It's advantage we talked about of being a youngest of three or versus the oldest, right? I'm watching with my own kids. I watched my oldest make the mistakes, and my youngest is like, oh, I'm not going to do that. That got you in a lot of trouble, right? So we have this natural, innate way to go about that, learning from others, but looking inwards and saying, ooh, okay, we go there. But it comes back down to that mindset. And I really want to hammer this home is dig deep days doesn't mean I'm off camera. Doesn't mean I'm like, ooh, go there. Well, I'm not fake it till I make it, but I'm faking it till I belong there. I mean, we all have tough days. We're all human beings. We're all just a ball of emotions that we're trying to put forth our best face. Creativity comes from the discipline of making it happen, of constantly looking at fire hot. I don't want to put my hand over it, right? Cold shower, that stinks, but I'm going to keep doing it anyway for 30 days. We'll get to that later. But again, it's a mindset of, okay, this is what I can do and I can conquer this and I can learn from that mistake. And now it's just part of my skill. So I've got a great formal education. I'm continuing my education to learn, earn, and then return to others. But how do I keep that going on a daily basis when I may not have the energy to go back to school or go, take a Coursera course or something like that? Well, you got to get down to those micro levels of learning, even during our conversation, right? I've made plenty of mistakes creatively. We'll say something wrong and put that in the bank and be made fun of forever. But it's okay, because that's how we learn. That's how we grow. That's how we become stronger for the future itself. What are your guys' mindsets and habits to really overcome some of this self-doubt of not learning from those constant everyday mistakes?
One of the key things is to have a system, whatever it is, but you need to have a system to track that progress and to understand where you're at right now, where you were before, and like you said, Zach, not exactly where you want to be, but kind of like have an idea of where you can go from here. And And do that a lot with exercise, for example. Like you keep the tracking of your metrics, and you keep knowing every day how you're getting better and how your fitness scores are getting better. And maybe you have a bad week and it comes down a little bit, but if you look at the bigger picture, you can see that you have actually improved over the last year. If you can do that with the way you work and with the things that you learn and the skills that you develop, I think that's really key. And again, right, like just looking back and saying, like, what things can I do right now that I wasn't able to do a year ago?
I like that reflection piece of could never have, been on the treadmill for 30 minutes without, being totally just out of breath or something. Just that's big. Just seeing, we talked about it in our previous series, that 1% better. Those 1% days or weeks or months or what have you, they add up. And kind of goes into my point too, is you got to make time, and time in the sense of analyzing if you're still growing, if you're still on path to where you expected, whether it's from a learning perspective, a goal perspective. I think if you have a goal, you're clearly learning something about yourself. But if you don't make time, then what are you finding out? Like, what are you actually looking into, right? If you don't take the time to analyze where you are, where you're going, then if somebody comes up to me and says, well, how's this going? Well, I guess it's going okay, and I don't have anything to actually back that up. So I think that's just something to owe to yourself, to look into that and analyze how you're going and what you're doing.
Right, Zach, those are just great points. I mean, it's concrete, it's work, you have to want it. And I think you both said it right there. If you want it, you're going to go after it. Or you're going to sit around and watch Dancing with the Stars. I mean, the choice is yours. Which nothing wrong with that if that's what you choose to do. But anyway, everyone's got the same 24 hours in a day, right? To go learn, to go earn, to go return. How are you going to do it there? I really want to I just want to recap this down to our GBA level. And how do we do this on a call-to-call basis? Well, we're graded, we're metricized heavily within this industry. So you can learn from your handle times, you can learn from your quality, and you can improve from there. Nobody's perfect right out of the gate. Just coming into the digital learning side is, okay, yeah, we can learn from this, and we can get you ready to go. We can give you the foundation of those skills, but you're going to have to enter that earn and learn or the nesting time frame, and you're going to have to go into operations. You're going to have to fail, right? And even Michael Jordan missed 9,000 shots. Hopefully we don't miss 9,000 calls. I don't think that's going to be okay. But, we're allowed to make mistakes in order to get there. I mean, it's never going to be perfect right out of the gate. I think there is a lot of scared mindset of, okay, if I'm going on here, I've got to be perfect. No, nobody is. It takes 10,000 hours to get to that point, and we're here to guide you along that pathway as well. But just keep learning and reflect at the end of the day. Have your discipline to get up, to take your cold shower, to know that you're going to deal with a rambler. You're going to deal with somebody mean or angry. Unfortunately, they're still out there in the world. But again, it gets better, helps you develop those skill sets to be a stronger individual for the future, and that's what we want to do, 1% better at a time.
Zach, see, there's your answer. We wear white because it doesn't have to be perfect.
Oh, okay. That full circle moment right here. Guess I need to find something white to wear. I was gonna have a whole point to add to that now. Total discourse. But
no, that's a mic drop. That's a mic drop.
I was just gonna add, kind of as one of my closing thoughts around all of this is add white to your wardrobe. No, but the biggest problem that I see out there when things are difficult or learning is not easy, or becoming better is not easy, it's that individual or even myself has not exerted the right amount of mental strength, physical strength, the right amount of effort in order to become successful, right? There's something that's not being done by self in that situation to achieve what's needed to be done. A lot of times it's an assumption that you've already started working hard, thought you did enough, and why, is the cash and money not just sitting here for me, right? The results clearly are never going to come. I give up. And I think to push to yourself to a limit is where greatness happens. And we've said it so many times on episodes that achieving more recognition, achieving more status, achieving anything along those lines that's an achievement of sorts doesn't come from easy. It doesn't come from something that's just given to you. Sometimes things do fall in your lap, but I find when things fall in your lap, so to speak, it typically come around times where you've worked hard, and maybe it's just a reward that was already in progress from your previous hard efforts, or greater efforts. So I would just leave with that throughout this whole piece of honing your skills and adding to your skills and building that bench of your own assets, I guess you would call it, is it's not going to be easy. And just because something is not going to be immediate, don't give up, because then you're a quitter. And who wants to be a quitter?
I'm either winning or I'm learning. So the quote we'll leave out on, thank you, Zach, it's by the great Nelson Mandela. I never lose. I either win or learn. Yeah, this has been one of my favorite episodes in a while. So thank you, everyone, for joining us on this conversation as we win or learn. And we talk about the mindset to bring that in, and from our wrap up our skills development series here. And as always, hashtag keep learning, and let us know what you're learning about too. Please like and subscribe to our channel for more great content. And if you'd like to reach out to us, we would welcome you to email us at btb@oiteam.com. I heard Zach will enter a GIF, maybe a GIF in his words, with every reply. Join us for our next week, where we start our brand new series all about productivity. I am Joe Bear, and for my co-hosts Zach and Diego, this is Behind the Beard. Omniverse to the moon.
Boom. I'm sorry. Cat just totally just went to, like, if the window is open, he would have gone through it. If you have an orange cat, then you would understand. There's something with orange cats. They're psycho. But sorry, back to the topic at hand here.